almost did not have my mic plugged in. That would have been bad.
That would have been hilarious.
It would have been. All right. Let's do it. Hello and welcome into the Section 109 podcast. Here from Studio Breezy. I am Breezy. This is Matthew. This is Sir Mix-a-Lot. That's Bobble Juan. And we are here, Matthew, to talk about a game that almost nobody saw. If you're watching this on YouTube, we'd love a comment, a like, a subscribe, all those things, especially the comments. Those make us happy. And yeah, Matthew, jump into giving me the start of our review of CFC at Birmingham that was supposed to be closed doors, that only ended up kind of being closed doors, then it wasn't closed doors. Anyway, it was a whole thing.
Yeah, it was a whole thing. The friendly at Birmingham was originally supposed to be closed door at their training center. They ended up opening up the match for Birmingham season ticket holders, which is something we've done before. And
which is something that we'll do in the next couple weeks with the season ticket holder only game.
Right. And I think it was like low-key kind of a test run. Apparently they want to run their Open Cup games there, which just go ahead and call U.S. Soccer because that facility does not meet the minimum requirements, but that's
Definitely
beside the point.
Not. Definitely not. Although it was a very cool facility.
It actually kind of ruled. It reminded me a lot of the NPSL.
Yes, the good NPSL.
Like just rolling up to, you know, a little soccer complex with a bunch of fields, and one's considered the main field.
And it has stands for about
75 people.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say 105. I was going to be nice.
It kind of ruled.
It absolutely ruled. It was 6 grass fields, and there is an NPSL team that plays there.
Oh, excellent.
As far as I could tell from the signage. And it looks like a WPSL team that plays there as well.
I don't think they play the W. It doesn't matter. One of the things I did like about it as well is that, like, if you are a flat earther, you could just go there and be availed of that concept almost immediately.
The pitch was crowned and very clearly round.
It was crowned by like maybe a solid foot. Like it was. Yeah. It was wild, and they do that to make the drainage a lot better, so they can reuse it more often.
Also, whoever's running the groundskeeping there, like the fields were in very good shape.
Fields were in great shape. Like it was
really
awesome.
Good shape. I was very impressed.
I came away,
and I would love to talk shit, but I was very impressed.
I came away like just wanting one. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. 6 fields. We know there is a facility there that they can meet in, like have a meeting room, training room, that kind of thing. I don't know if they have I imagine they have workout rooms and shit. We didn't get to see any of that. But we know that there was a facility there they had built. It was cool. Matthew, also, why do you look so put together today? We are like polar opposites today.
Yeah, it's Monday morning, so I'm on my way to the office.
Are you doing some politics?
Maybe.
Hopefully not.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how the day goes.
So if you didn't see, because there was not a stream, unfortunately, the game finished 3-2 good guys. Going into it, what were you hoping to see, Matthew?
I just wanted to see some progress on the field, some evolution. Like I truly do not care about preseason scorelines. I don't think they're indicative of future results.
Well, that makes one of us.
I don't think that it's 100% process over outcomes. And, you know, if we start playing the main group, you know, closer to 90, like if people are going 90,
yeah,
that makes it more interesting for me. But I just don't. I want to see progress on the pitch. And if weird things happen that contribute to a score line, that's part of it, and I'll care a lot more about that in a match that matters, but not in a preseason game where, and we can talk about this, you know, Birmingham played 5 or 6 trialists in the second half. You know, we had, I think, 6 either trialists or guest players, which we can talk about later. And like, I'm not going to get broken up about 2 teams in a second half, or in the last 30 minutes of the second half in our case, that have, you know, half the playing group on both sides is either on trial or just like helping fill numbers. Like I just am not going to get broken up by that.
So first of all, you made me a little nostalgic and sad because you said process and we can no longer say Rodcess. And I just, I'm happy where we are. I miss being able to say Rodcess. And I miss, those were some good times calling it the Rodcess. Anyway, just brought me a little nostalgia on this Monday morning. The other thing is, I think you have to look at this the way we looked at the Atlanta United game, the way we talked about it afterwards, which is there's something to be taken out of the first half because it was mostly starters. It's not exclusively starters, but it's guys who are fully signed.
It's Birmingham had one trialist on the field, and he started against Atlanta United as well in their match against Atlanta.
Yes, and we had no trialists on the field. It may not be our exact starting lineup. Captain Alex McGrath was not yet in there. He did play in the game, but he was not in the first half. So who knows? But we played. I guess we could talk about this. We should talk about the starting lineup and how the game went. But like the first half is much more indicative, I think, of like what are we trying to see process wise. Sebastian said it last week when we had him on. Like we want to see progress in process. I don't remember if those exact words you used, but you want to see them putting into play and trying to do some of the concepts they've talked about, and they want to see that kind of progress. And I don't know how much of that I saw, but I definitely was looking for that in that first half.
Yeah. So let's go over the lineups first, and then we'll talk about the opening period because there's an initial wave of Birmingham attack.
Yes.
And then it like persists for the first half of the first half, and then the match changes. But let's do the lineups first. So I mentioned Birmingham had one trialist, a center back who has been with the group for a while now. And I don't know if that's he's signed and they just haven't announced it yet, so he's still a trialist or whatever the deal is there. But
what position was that?
It was center back. It was their left center back. But like they ran out a pretty strong lineup. This is a Birmingham team that has struggled a little bit. They've never been super, super high up the Eastern Conference standings. And then they finally slipped below the playoff line. And, crowds have been dwindling a little bit. Like their situation is not awesome and ideal.
They really need a stadium of their own, so they're not playing in a cavernous.
Correct.
What is it?
Correct.
What is that? 40,000.
Yeah, Protective is like 40,000 seats or something. Crazy.
And it's in a pretty sweet spot as far as being central. I don't know what's actually around it to like do, but like it's pretty central in downtown, which was the frustrating part when we were driving to fucking Tuscaloosa last year because we drove right past it. But it is like in a nice part of, or I should say nice part of town. It's in a central part of town, so like you can definitely get to it. But man, we've been to a lot of NPSL teams that played in 40,000 seat stadiums. We play in a 21,000 seat stadium. And luckily, obviously, we can tarp the one side and we can, whatever else. But it feels very bad to have, even if you have 6,000 people in a 40,000 seat stadium.
It's real different.
So it would make sense that they would be struggling, especially if they've not been super competitive the last couple of years. They are historically, though, a pretty good team. They're historically a playoff team, right?
Historically a playoff team, but like
they've never won it all.
It's concerning that everybody made the playoffs in the championship last year, except they didn't. So like that's a problem. But you see, like they've really gone out there and tried to make some signings. So they've got like two kind of old goalkeepers, but their starter on Saturday was I think like a 21-year-old that they just bought off of Real Monarchs.
You know who he reminded me of, in a good way, younger Kevin Gonzalez. He had really nice feet. The way he moved, like similar stature, maybe a tiny bit taller than Kev, but probably not. Like Kev was actually about 5'10" or so, and like this guy, I'm guessing is probably listed at 6 foot. I never checked, but like I'm guessing he's like 5'11" so like not super tall. But the way he moved for the ball, the way his first touches, his his footwork reminded me of Kev, and like the similar stature obviously helped too. But I thought he was like when the ball. So like. You see a ball roll back to a goalkeeper sometimes, you're like, ooh, there's a chance there. There was never a chance that he was going to hit one wrong, that he was going to make a bad step. Like every part of that was really smooth and really good. You could tell he was really young, but like it was the confident young.
I think Birmingham's really leaning into like, how can we play with the ball? How can we create chances?
Well, they've got some good attackers that I'm sure you're about to talk about. They've got some promising attackers they've signed for this season.
Yeah, so like our nemesis Enzo Martinez is still was still the starting 10.
He was not as good this game, which was nice.
He might be starting to go over the hill.
It's also the preseason, and he might not care.
Yeah, there's always that. But like if you think about like Tyler Pasher, who was not in the team today. I assume he's out with a little bit of an injury. Like long time, great attacking player in the NASL. Then he spent some time in MLS, now back in USL for Birmingham.
He's a good player.
Very good player, been there for several years now. They just brought in, to be their starting 9, Ronaldo Damas, who...
He's terrifying. He scored.
Won a League One title at North Texas in 2019. He won a USL Championship title at Orange County in 2021. And he won a... And he won
League One title last year with Northern Colorado. No, Championship Colorado. Not Northern Colorado.
Colorado Springs.
Sorry,
a championship title last year with Colorado Springs.
That's what I was trying to say. Sorry.
Birmingham has brought him in on loan. This guy's got bought by a club in Sweden after the Orange County year, and it's been.
That's who that is.
It's been a year. I think he spent a year away, and then he progressively has just gotten loaned back over the years. I think he was at San Diego one year, then at Colorado Springs. Now he's at Birmingham. Like, that's a very, very good player. Terrifying.
I think he got bought by for like $250,000.
It was real money.
Yeah.
They also brought in Danny Trejo, who CFC old timers will remember.
That's Sonisa.
Danny Trejo was a young player, like 21, 20, something like that, from LA Force back in 2020, with the little bubble tournament in Detroit.
He was very, very good.
Incredibly good player. Terrifying, electric speed.
We liked him, and then he immediately got drafted into MLS the next year.
Yeah, so you
and I were like, he looked good in CFC, and then he got the 9th pick in the Super Draft.
Yeah, he went high in the first round right afterwards by LAFC. I think he's got a few MLS appearances. Spent a lot of time in the championship with LA's 2-team that wasn't a 2-team. It was a weird situation, and helped Phoenix Rising win a championship in USL. Back in 2023, and got a big move. I forget if he was sold or if it was a free agent deal. Went to Poland for a year, did pretty well there.
Oh, I didn't realize he went to Poland.
Came back and I guess I'm pointing that out to say that those are 2 best in class attackers.
Yeah, those are 2 potential best 11 players, caliber players that they brought in.
And I think it just goes to show that Birmingham's not messing around. They were going to spend some real money this year. And really try to put a good product on the field. And what I liked about that is, they've still got some injuries out. They're still doing some stuff, but that's a great test for us to get 45 minutes against those kind of players.
Completely. And
right off the jump, let's go through our lineup.
Yep.
You've got, Eldon was in goal. Taylor Robertson, Fareed Zarzar, Logan Brown was back in after missing the Atlanta game. Milo at left back.
So same starting lineup on the back so far as the Atlanta game, just Logan for
Ethan Dudley.
Trialist number 30. Fucking Atlanta announcers.
You've got Nick Mendonça.
Nick in for Stevie. That was interesting.
Callum Watson, Daniel Mangarov, and then Amzian Sid Mohan at right wing, Minjae Kwok stayed at left wing, and then Keegan Anselin was the starting 9.
So 2 trialist turn signings from the Atlanta game started in this game, which I thought was fun. Keegan up top at the 9 and Mangarov at one of the 8/10s. And then Amzian, who is a new signing, but was already signed way before that, and spoiler alert, scored 2 goals in this game. Started at right wing.
And so Darwin Ortiz ended up not playing. I'm going to classify him day to day with a little bit of an injury. Jalen James was in a boot. Unfortunately, he's going to be out for a little while.
Not fucking cool, dude. I saw him walking around in the boot when we shook hands after the game, and I was like, no!
Yeah, and that's really unfortunate. He had a great game against Atlanta, I thought.
He had a phenomenal game. I thought he was one of the real standouts.
And he had an electric preseason last year while on trial, and then got signed, and then immediately, I think it was in the last game before the regular season started. He took a shot in the season ticket holders game, and missed a little bit of time, and I thought that really set him back. And then we still don't have Peter Plonlen, the Danish striker. Mm-hmm. I assume he is awaiting his visa, otherwise he would be here.
It's one of those things with international players, you just don't know. It could take 10 days or whatever, and it could take 10 weeks. And for the love of Pete, let it not, no pun intended, let it not take 10 weeks.
Yeah. So hopefully that gets done there. So yeah, first off the jump of that game, we were going into the sun
and into
the wind,
a lot of wind,
and we typically play we practice on turf at Finley Stadium. And so you've got the grass field with a huge crown.
Huge crown. So like if you can see me on YouTube, this is what the field looked like. It was like from the center line, if you're goals on each end, center line runs, it was just crowned, which is for drainage purposes. It keeps the fields nice. Like we already said, they were in incredible shape.
Makes a ton of sense.
But Buddy the ball will roll down that hill if you...
Yeah, so it really took us some time to get used to the situation.
And Birmingham came out looking like they were not only used to it, but ready to put us to bed.
Yeah, I mean, they really came out quick. I mean, there was a shot on target in like 10, 15 seconds.
Okay, let's talk about that for a second. The referee, who was not bad, he did not do a lot of running, and he was a bit out of shape from my view. Well, he was very shapely, but he did not... he started that game. Eldon was... They went like, everybody huddles up, and they go like, 1, 2, 3 team, and then they all go back to their like areas. Eldon had barely even gotten in goal. He set his water bottle down. He was walking across, like jogging across, rather, to see his other post. Like, he was like, 1, 2, 3, set my stuff down. Okay, I'm walking over to the post, jogging over to the post, and like he blew the whistle. So like Eldon makes that first save like 6 seconds into the game or 4 seconds into the game.
It's like 10 or 15.
And he's like, What are we doing? Like, because the referee looks at the goalkeepers and like usually gives them especially in a friendly.
Yeah.
Like there was to me that was pretty bush league. It's not the end of the world. It's not something worth getting mad about, but it was like that ref was like, we're out here for a scrimmage. Let's get this thing going. And I thought that was kind of annoying. But otherwise, like I actually thought he called a pretty good game.
Yeah, he wasn't bad at all.
And he just deferred. Anytime he didn't want to make a call, he just deferred to his linesman. He was like, you make the call.
Or just pointed to the ball and said, you got ball. Like, we're playing on.
Yeah, including one that was probably a penalty on our end. But then he got us back later. So
yeah. I'm referencing Kaylor Hodges here, who I think we might have met, and I didn't realize it till later because I was going to ask. But he's got us down for Eldon making 4 saves in the first 3 minutes of the game.
Yeah, that was not the most fun part.
It was we were under siege there for the very beginning. Nothing. I don't think any of the shots were like crazy. I don't think Eldon made any insane saves. I think it's all stuff you expect your goalkeeper to make.
But you don't want to
you don't want to be giving up that much that early.
Bingo.
It ended up being close to probably around 7 saves in the first 20 minutes.
Not great.
And it was, I think, 9 overall in the. I think it was 9 overall in the first half.
And
plus one that, spoiler alert, went in.
None of these, except for the goal, were massive chances, and we'll talk about the goal. They were all just like okay to minor chances, but you just don't want to be letting those
just a bunch of bad to quarter chances.
Yes, but like when the shot goes on target on goal and he's having to put it out, like it's not great. But it's the other thing is like you want to see the team under some adversity in the preseason. You don't just want to like run through teams. You don't expect to run through a USL Championship team.
This was a much better test than the Atlanta United game was.
Yeah, correct.
Which is a funny thing to say.
I mean, I think the other thing is like mentality wise, if I'm being like actually objective here, mentality wise, we came out in the Atlanta game, on our toes, minding our P's and Q's, like ready to just play it out of bounds if we need to do whatever we needed to do to make sure we were like giving ourselves the best chance to compete for a win, for not allowing a goal, for whatever it was.
Yeah.
In this game, we approached it much more like, especially in that first little while, mentality-wise, like, hey, we're here to play. We should be more on equal footing. And we weren't like deferential. Against Atlanta, we were a little deferential in the right way because you're playing against Atlanta. And so I think that also caught us up because we were not like absolutely on a razor's edge ready for that. We were just like normally like, it's a preseason game. It's a thing. And I'm not saying the mentality was necessarily wrong, but it's different. It's hard to get as up for a game. And so we still had our really good moments, which we'll talk about, but I just don't think we came out like, all right, here we go. We're ready. Here's the set. I mean, it was just like we started and then they were really good and we had to get used to the conditions.
I honestly think it was a lot of us trying to get used to the conditions because guys were still flying around, doing the work defending, like not trying to give anything up. It was just like, if you're going into the sun, it's always a different dynamic. If you're going into the wind, it's always a different dynamic.
And the wind was
if you're
brutal.
playing on grass and you're not used to it, and you're playing on grass with a crown, like it's really hard to get used to it. And then all of a sudden, like, you know, Birmingham comes out to get a shot on target in the first 10, 15 seconds. And like they smell a little blood in the water. And again,
the touch on that first shot was
and like it's really like I'm happy I'm happy about how all of this played out. Even if we had given up a goal in there, like I don't care. Like it's really important to take those tests in preseason and get accustomed to it. So yeah, that first half of the first half was pretty tough. We did start breaking out.
I don't think it lasted longer than you said to me on the way home that you thought it was like 25, 30 minutes or something. I think it was about 20 minutes.
So it was probably 20 to 25 minutes. And then we started picking up a little bit of possession. We started being able to play through.
And they scored in that first 25,
Birmingham
right?
pressure. They scored around the 30-minute mark.
Okay, I couldn't remember when they scored.
We had just started to get a foothold in the game. And I think it was Logan that slips while in possession of the ball.
It's Logan, and he gets turf monstered, which is a bummer because it wasn't turf. But like he just slips. His feet come out from under him. The big clump of grass that gave loose just goes flying, and he's like on the edge of our box, like maybe 1 yard in our box, like, and the attacker is able to just drive straight in, pass it across.
Trey Garthan, the right winger, just picks up the ball, is able to. I think he's able to like kind of shimmy around Fareed as he's trying to close down. I don't remember exactly. And he just slides it over to Damus, who puts it away.
There's nothing you can do there.
And that's
just bad luck. It's just
a super unfortunate way to concede. But also, this is why I don't care about preseason, because like sometimes a slip will happen. Like it's just part of it.
And they slip later in the game, similar way. Like it was a nice field. Nobody was used to playing on turf or playing on grass. I don't think it is the preseason, it is the preseason. Like sometimes the turf gives out, the grass gives out, whatever. And like, it was just bad luck.
It's just part of it. It's also why we don't.
Also, they probably on balance deserved a goal out of that first
little
while.
Sure.
So like it was kind of a fair thing.
What I like about this team so far in this small sample size is that the getting scored on really seems to bring something out of this group, and the intensity got turned up to another level. And maybe that's because Birmingham sat in a little bit, but like, I mean, it's 2 minutes later.
I don't even know if Birmingham sat in. I think they just took a breath, like a deep breath. They're like, all right, I finally got that goal. It finally went in. And then
and our intensity got ratcheted up because we immediately moved into the attacking. Our attacking third,
and we already had a foothold.
For not like maybe the second, maybe the third time all like it was. We had not really done a lot. There had not been a lot of penetration yet, and I think there was a free kick that had gone high before that or something like that, and it's just a really nice sequence where we finally got the ball kind of on the edge of the box, and I think Mangaroff plays inside to Minjay, and Minjay is getting pressured by probably the outside back there, and he just tries to kind of slide the ball out back to Mangaroff, and
remember, Sebastian called Mangaroff a technical wizard, and you see a little bit of that in this play.
And I think
which you can't see, but we'll describe for you.
And I think that he also mentions maybe in the press release that Mangaroff, even playing as one of the 8/10s, likes to kind of flare out into that left-sided channel, and that's where he ended up. He kind of overlapped on Minjay, who was cut inside pretty far.
It's almost a give and go. It's just like he plays the ball to Minjay, he goes outside, Minjay gets stopped by like two different guys tackling him, and Minjay's able to kind of kick it in his general direction.
Right.
Mangaroff takes it like basically off the nuts.
Yeah, it's a great play by Mangaroff to collect
settle
the ball, and then he drives down at the kind of angle you want to drive towards the
Man City zone,
and then he just cuts it back across the probably inside the 6 or maybe at the edge of the 6, and Amzian Sidmohan is playing the right wing
on the back post,
but he's on back post and just kind of centered by that point, and is able to just beat his man there and
tap it in.
Tap it in.
So he just plays it straight across goal, and it's a tap in. It's one of those like 0.85 xG chances where you're tapping it in from 1 yard out.
Yeah.
It's awesome. And it was, like you said, about 2 minutes after they scored, maybe 1 minute. It's the first actual like flurry of action after they score. We just go down and score immediately. And I feel like from then on, we were the better team the rest of that half.
Yeah,
we controlled the
really
game
had,
the rest of that half.
We really had control of the game from there.
We just,
from the half from there.
We had already found our footing a little bit with some possession, but it hadn't come to anything. And then from then on, we were just in control. I'm not saying they weren't at all dangerous. They had some moments or whatever, but like we were the better team. We took the game back over, which was really nice to see because Birmingham had dominated the first portion of that game. And to see us go down, be resilient, go down and immediately score, and then take the game to them for the rest of the half. Like, that was good. That's what you want to see.
And also, like, finally create the big moment.
Yes.
Like, if Birmingham created a bunch of, like, smaller chances, maybe, 0.1 XG type chances, which, by the way, add up a lot, to go down and create and convert a massive, massive chance. Like, that's really, really good.
Yeah. I also want to say, and please no one clip this out of context, like Amzian and Mangarov are the best possible way bastards. They will kick you. They are the guy you want on your team. Like, they're both like, Amzian seems really tall and really skinny, but like he plays much stronger and bigger than you would think. He's also thicker than you think when you see him close. Like he's muscle bound. Mangarov is just like a pit bull in there. And they will, as they turn it over. So a lot of times really technical players, when they turn over, don't put in a really good challenge. That is not their game. Both of those guys will put in a good challenge, and if you get around them, they will professional foul you, they will kick you. Not in like a out of control way, in a very good way to stop the other team from being able to, as you're trying to beat a guy, like turn you over and break the other way. It was wonderful to see. I saw it in Amzian in the Atlanta game as well. I just really enjoyed the mentality there. I enjoyed the like professionalism from two players who are young, like to, in the right moments, commit a professional foul, especially after a turnover on a turnover, to really get stuck in, but not in like the dumb, like, get stuck in, fella way, like in the like, get in the right moment. Like commit the foul, commit the hard challenge, come out with the ball sometimes. I loved it. And a couple times each of them got it turned over, and instead of like them just letting the guy beat in the back, they just kicked him. And it was awesome.
Yeah, so the game goes into halftime 1-1. We make I think Birmingham they only list 10 players in their second half.
Well, that would make sense for the first 15 minutes why we dominated so much.
I'm going to guess they just forgot one of the trialists.
And just left him on the bench.
And they changed all 11 players.
Yeah, to be clear, there was 11 players on the field.
If someone stayed, I don't know, and I doubt someone stayed. It was probably a full line change. And we made 2 changes at halftime. Alex McGrath came in for Daniel Mangarov. Jesus Ibarra came in for Min-Jae Kwok. The rest of the group stayed out a little bit longer, probably about 15 minutes to go a total of 60 for the game. And
so that first 50, so we score about 2 minutes into the second half.
Yes.
And it is again Amzian, and it is my favorite goal of the game because the pass is just chef's kiss.
Yeah. So like we come out and we really.
The same way we finished the half.
So, like, I think it's important for context and why preseason. I don't care about scoreline. Birmingham changed 11 players, and
they probably should have changed more.
and so, like, we come out with the ball and immediately go on to the attack. And Birmingham, who again, I mentioned several times now, changed 11 players. Like, they're still kind of figuring out their thing. And where to go, and we immediately like put them under siege, like they put us under siege
in that first half.
In the first half, and
yeah, talk me through that goal.
You're kind of just you're passing the ball around. You're trying to probe. You're trying to figure out where the space is, where the options are, and in that sequence we lose the ball, and I don't remember exactly how we lost the ball, but like a couple players go in and the ball squirts out or something like that. And I think it squirts to a Birmingham player who's trying to pass it forward. I don't think it's like a heavy touch or anything. Like he's trying to pass it.
And we have a lot of numbers forward, if my recollection serves.
Yeah, we have numbers forward. We have the game pinned. I think all 22 are in that. Not all 20. 21 of the 22 players are in that half. And
Well, you don't think Eldon was in there?
Yeah. And I think the Birmingham player is just trying to like play it to a midfielder that's ahead of him or something like that. But it just, there's bad communication. It's typical stuff. It happens. And Alex McGrath, like, who's a little bit deeper for this part of the sequence, approaches up to collect the ball to win possession back. He immediately plays square to his 8-10/10 counterpart, Callum Watson, who's still in the game. And Callum immediately like takes a touch to settle and then sends a ball that splits the center backs. And Amzian's coming from the right hand side, from his right wing position. He's running on the back shoulder of the left back, and then back shoulder of the center back to collect that ball. I think he takes a touch to settle it, to chop it. I'm not 100% sure what he did with it. And then he just kind of plays it, kind of lifts it over the goalkeeper and in. And, 2 minutes into the second half, we're up 2-1. It's
beautiful. So I want to describe a couple pieces of that as well. First of all, if you remember in the Rod Underwood Nisa days, in his second season, 2023, if their backline had 4 players, and if you're watching on YouTube, you can see me use my fingers, at 4 players, you would see Brett Jones, especially on that right wing, get vertical past the outside back, and you would see Alex McGrath or somebody play a ball between the outside back and the center back on the ground.
That's year 1.
Is that year 1?
Yeah.
Okay. Even fine, year 1. That's fair. Brett Jones wasn't here in year 2. You're right. My bad. But you would see us play these balls. And when we were really good, we would play these vertical balls. And you see it in world soccer a bit too, where you split the outside back and one of the center backs on either side with a ball. What you almost never see is a ball played from like not super close, because you could split like super close, but like a ball played from a little bit deeper outside the 18, split the 2 center backs vertically for a winger to run on and finish. These 2 get split quite a bit, the outside backs and the center backs. I shouldn't say quite a bit, but it's a reasonable play. It's a matchup you try to create. You try to split those guys. You pull the outside back out. You pull the center back in, and you try to split that space. You never see a guy. And the fact that Callum was able to pivot and play, it's not quite a first-time ball, but it's an early ball to a runner through there was fucking incredible. I will also say, we talked about with Sebastian last week, wide forwards versus wingers versus wide midfielders. And I saw Amzian in particular in this game playing very much as a wide forward. He gets 2 goals. He was making runs to the back post. He was trying to get shots. He was coming in towards the box and not like being on the touchline all the time. Not that he had 0 time on the touchline, but his intent was to get in there and score. And I think wingers obviously can provide a lot of the time and be really wide, but I loved the like intent essentially there of the wide forwards especially in the first half.
Yeah. Now you'll see more often if a team is playing a back 3/a back 5, you'll see those center backs get split, but it's more common because you've got a center back and then an outside center back, and like that channel can get split a little bit. It is incredibly rare, to echo your point,
because there's often a 6 in there too.
To see the 2 center backs in a 4 get split down the middle, it's incredibly rare. It's a phenomenal ball.
That ball was incredibly central when it's received, because Amzian's coming from the outside. Yeah. He receives it almost dead center of the box. Almost. It's not quite dead center, but like it's so far central that you don't see that very often. It's one of those that co-host Smitty said on this podcast that sometimes the assist is so good that they should get credit for the goal.
Yeah.
And like Amzian makes a nice finish, no disrespect, but Amzian should get an assist on that, and Callum should get the goal because it's incredible.
Yeah. And I think that's the kind of thing that we've seen Callum be able to do a little bit.
It's the same ball he played in the Philly, not splitting different center backs, but the same type of ball, early and weighted well and played between the center backs, that he played twice in that Philly game to Medi that we were not able to capitalize on. But that when we got vertical in that Philly game away before we got trashed in the second half because of the red card, like Callum played 2 of those unbelievable balls, and it's nice to see that come off, and that's something that we're going to really need from him this season, I believe, if we're going to like really hit not just like the next level and be better, but like to be really, really good. We need someone who can pull those strings, and he has that in his tool bag, the pull the string thing.
Yeah, and being able to win the ball, win possession back that high up at the field, and then immediately attack with it.
Yes. Because what we would
is
do,
something that we did not see nearly enough of, and basically not at all last year.
we would turn over teams a reasonable amount, but we almost never directly attacked with a dangerous ball forward as the first pass or the second pass. It was recycle, get possession, get control, and that is one way to play. There are many teams in the world that play that way, but am really happy to see us go and turn over quickly, and especially if I'm right about like that is Callum's like special talent is playing that really, really amazing ball. We're going to need to turn over and get that ball to Callum as much as possible, because if he can play one of those or two of those crazy balls in every game, I'm not saying he's going to get as good a chance as that one is to play that ball, but like that's a really special thing. And you also saw like Keegan running off the back shoulder and into space, into the channel quite a bit, and us trying to get tape played a couple times. Like we were trying to get vertical a little differently than we did in the past, making, I would say, like a little bit more riskier passes, quote unquote, not in our half, but in their half, trying to get to
risky in terms of there's a better percentage chance you're going to lose the ball
Yes.
out of that. But if you don't lose the ball, then you've set up yourself with a much higher percentage chance of doing something interesting with it.
Totally. It's ceding control a little bit, because
Yeah.
possession is control, and you cede control when you make a pass that's like a 50-50 ball, or sometimes those balls are a 70-30 ball where it's a 30% chance you come up with it, 70% chance that they come up with it because it's a tough pass to complete. I don't want to see us pass only those. I don't want to see us like be just like ridiculously direct and like end up as like Everton with Sean Dyche.
But if you have the matchups,
yes, exactly.
or the space in behind, and one thing about Next Pro that you don't always see in a League One or the Championship, the average age of teams is younger. The league, kind of by design, is not always like predicated on getting results game in and game out.
Correct.
They want the reps, they want the opportunities. They don't care if you've happened to score 5 goals against them, and like they're not going to go try to protect the goal difference. Like they're going to get in there and they're going to keep coming at you and keep coming at you. And that means that there's going to be space, because those teams are going to play the way they want to play. Whether it's Philadelphia and they're playing a diamond in midfield and they're sitting in a little bit, or they're doing the high pressure transition thing, which I think we're going to see turned up to the max this year. They're going to play their kind of football, and they're going to play it no matter what the score is, no matter what the situation is. And so for us to be successful, because we are fundamentally doing something differently in our approach than some of these other teams, we need to be able to take advantage of what defenses give us. And oftentimes that's going to be, pressing a little bit, trapping, playing in transition, playing where the space is. And how we adapt to the league, how we can attack the things that are given to us, will ultimately determine, I think, how successful we are in 2025.
And to be clear, I don't think that they don't want to win, but what they're not going to do is prioritize winning at the expense of development.
Correct.
They're going to development first, winning second.
If you think these teams don't want to win, like, just watch a game.
Yeah, they want to win, but what they're not going to do is sacrifice. Like in the last few minutes of a game, are they going to kick it long? Sure, but like if they're down 3-0, they're going to continue playing out of the back. Similar to if you remember how we played against Atlanta United in the Open Cup, where we just continued. We lost that game 6-0, or I think it was 6, and we lost that game because when it got to be 3-0 or whatever, and by the way, our goal was good, so it should have been 3-1. We just continued to play out of the back and trust our rod cess and like try to get better. And that is what a lot of these teams will do when they're down. They will just continue to play how they play. Or when they're up. And that doesn't mean that they won't try to win, because they're absolutely trying to win. But there's just a little bit of extra. We want to develop players because we're two teams. And that gives us a unique opportunity to try to exploit those.
There are more chances in a next pro game to be able to kill off the opposition than there are in a typical other like USL game.
Toby's under the couch just scratching up.
Okay.
He's trying to dig a hole in the rug.
Like they're just going to give you more opportunities to kill a game off, because they're never going to stop coming at you. in their way.
And you also see that in many other games, something we've talked about, next pro goals. Like you watch where somebody makes a bad pass out of the back and then some winger just takes it, squares it, and it's a tap in. And like
we didn't have it. We had one of those all season.
Right. We didn't get enough of those. That's something we have to get more of.
We had one.
We have to get more of.
And it was the third goal against Cincinnati.
I think if you take and look at how we're playing in this Atlanta game and how we're playing in this Birmingham game, it is so fucking early. So I am extrapolating massively. But I think you're seeing a concerted effort to be more able to take advantage of that type of thing.
Yeah. So we get to about the 60-minute mark. We make 9 changes.
Keegan also starts limping right around that time. I'm hoping it's just a stinger.
Oh yeah, he might have come out a couple minutes earlier.
No, he came out at the exact same time. As soon as he starts,
is that when the change?
So
was?
he goes down and kind of lays down. They call out the trainer. He's like he's talking to the ref, and then they just send everybody to the center line. Everybody comes in so that we do 10 changes. Eldon does not come out till later. But I do have a tiny worry that like Keegan pulled a muscle or something.
It would have been 8 changes then.
It was 8 changes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because Jesus didn't come out, and then Alex didn't come out for a few more minutes.
Okay, fair. Totally fair. They did not take out Eldon. I remember that part. So I'm a little worried about that. We didn't hear anything. He seemed to be walking around fine after the game.
It did not look like a cramp. It looked like
it could have been a cramp, but it did not look like it was clearly a cramp.
The aftermath did not seem like it was a cramp. I could have, like, the way he went in, he was challenging in a press. It could have been like just felt a weird tweak in his calf, or there's any number of things.
It worries me, but like I'm not like, yeah. I'll be interested to see if he's in the lineup for the next game. We'll know if he's okay, or if looking at practice if we see photos of him in the winning teams or whatever.
So the changes get made, and not even. I swear it's not even a full minute. We've got a trialist / guest player at left back.
Well, let's talk about this. Something we heard, which is like obviously they don't identify trialists, right? But there's a bunch of guys in camp. I say a bunch. A bunch could mean 4. A bunch could mean 8. But like there's a segment of guys in camp who played in this game who are not necessarily trialists. They maybe are still in college, so they're still like academically eligible, whatever else. They're just training and getting minutes, and we need bodies to fill out because we don't have a full roster yet. And some of those players got to play in this game, which is very, very cool.
Yeah, so like I'm just gonna say
some of them may be trialists.
I'm just gonna say trialist because I don't know who is who and don't know how to differentiate.
Totally fair.
A trial, not even 30 seconds in, and
but this is the reason I say that
trialist left back commits a penalty on a Birmingham attacker.
That Birmingham attacker is ready to go, and the trialist has been in the game for 15 seconds.
Yeah, and like that's a really good player as well, and just drove on the guy, beat him, gets taken down. It's a penalty.
Just clips his heels, just barely. Unlucky. It's a little unlucky. It's also just dumb.
Yeah.
But it's the second half, and there's a bunch of trialists. Who cares?
Birmingham attacker converts the penalty. It's 2-2. And then about 7 minutes later, another super nice sequence. Marcus Nagelstad does a little bit of... We're in possession, so it's not like target man hold-up play. But Marcus does a little bit of hold-up play. Jesus has come inside, and he just kind of slips the ball to Jesus. And I think Jesus takes one touch forward with it, which is really a square movement. And Robert Screen, who I guess is just a central midfielder now.
Buddy.
Chris has played him exactly 0 other places other than central midfield in the 8/10 role. So like I guess that's just what he is now.
It's so weird.
I'm still having trouble adjusting to it. But clearly Robert Screen's not, because he makes the run in behind. And Jesus plays him a perfect ball. Screeny takes a touch, loses his defender, puts a shot on goal. It's off the post. It's in. It's 3-2. Robert Screen's first goal for the club.
And the difference with this one and a normal like outside back playing center midfield scoring is that I would expect like a ball that happens to fall to him. I would have expected like, a ball gets played in, somebody knocks it down, it falls to him, he just slams it home. No, he makes a great run. It's a fantastic pass. He takes 2 steps / touches or 3 in the box to like get around the guy and finishes beautifully with his left foot. It is a winger, attacking midfielder, striker, whatever you want to call it, finish. Like he has a little bit to do there, and he He does it perfectly, and it's awesome.
Yeah, it ruled.
I saw him at tryouts yesterday, and it was nice to tell him. We were all just like, the goal scorer, he scores, or something like that. And he was very embarrassed in the best possible way. It was good.
Excellent. It was a really nice sequence of attack. It's something that I won't be surprised if we see more of. Those kind of movements.
2 of our 3 goals were runs coming into the box and passes into the box and finishes in the box. Does that mean we're going to score every game or every goal like that? No, but it was nice to see that attacking intent, the playing the ball into the box you had
a central ball in for the last 2 goals, and you had a cutback on the first goal. Like it's
great.
Those are prime create good chances type of situations, and I think we'll continue to see that fleshed out a little bit. The rest of the game, there's a little bit of action. I think we had a chance to make it 4-2. Couldn't put the game away. Birmingham's got a couple chances.
Michael makes a fantastic off the line save.
Just
like a cat flying across the. It's low. He comes flying across the box just to push it off the line. It's awesome.
And it's 2 teams that have like half their group essentially trialists, just like playing hard, trying to do stuff. It's not exactly like always the most coherent thing.
And our trialists settled in after the first 15 seconds. They started to get more possession. They started to get more of the game. They started to interact with our signed players, and
Alex McGrath only goes about 20 minutes or so because he's just now coming back. This was his first week.
But what a 20 minutes it was! I saw 3 different slide tackles. He bodied a few guys. He was sharp.
He was raring to get back.
And one of those tackles, he slide tackles a guy right in front of our bench. And then the guy kind of trips over him, and he's a little bit on top of him, and Alex stands up in the middle, and the guy just goes sprawling. It was a welcome to your practice field kind of moment. It was wonderful.
Yeah. So a great preseason test against a really good team, and
totally.
And I think it's one of those games where there was a little bit of everything. I think we learned a lot in the process, and now it's on to the game against Knoxville. And that was a competitive game the first time around a couple years ago.
I expect it will be
it was a highly competitive first half according to reports.
I expect it will be a intense game too, slightly more intense for both teams because both teams will be further into their preseason. So guys will be more fit, guys will be closer to match sharpness for both teams. And so I think it will be a much better test of what we're going to be and who we're going to be. Also, something you mentioned to me when we were leaving the game is we will be playing a League One team. We went MLS, Championship, now we're playing a League One team. How motivated are our guys to be on?
You can't give me credit for that. Someone from the technical staff made that point to me. But it's a valid point. Guys were up for Atlanta, guys were up for Birmingham. Now Knoxville's going to be on the same tier.
Do we look past them? Do we look past the college team after that? Do we look past the UPSL team? And I'm not saying we're going to, but it is a preseason of going down the ladder, basically.
Right.
And it's going to be a good test for how self-motivated are our guys? How much do they play for each other? And I'm not saying they won't, but it'll be interesting to see.
And Knoxville, once their asshole of a coach was fired last year, Knoxville really started playing pretty well. And they played real regressive shit football.
Didn't you get into a yelling match with him during last game?
You're not allowed to motherfuck my people. And if you do, I will burn your career down.
He's a bad guy. And I'm glad he's not going to be here. Not only because he's a bad guy, but I don't have to worry about keeping Matthew in check, who's apparently not going to be there, but who I was worried might try to get in a fist fight with this guy for having some of the things he said to some staffers that we know about.
Yeah. And it's karma, and he's also coached his last game in U.S. Pro Football. So, sucks to suck.
Also, I feel like his team went out to try to injure our players in that first game.
So that's just League One.
It was rough, man.
So the new coach in Knoxville is completely different stylistically. I think they're going to try to, I don't know how much possession of the ball they will want. But they should be a pretty decent team. They're probably going to have some. They want to high press. They want to, like turn you over and transition quickly. League One's usually an incredibly athletic league, and that's also going to be a good test for us. Like, can we play out of the back? Can we handle their athleticism? Can we, when we do make mistakes with the ball, because it's preseason, we're going to make mistakes. That's fine. Can we recover? Mm-hmm. Can we deal with the problems and the overloads that they present? And it's going to be another good test to prepare us for the regular season. And just hopefully it's a good, fun match and no one gets hurt.
I'm very excited for it. Matthew, are we done? Do we have anything else that you want to add about the game? I don't think there's any news we haven't covered. No new signings have been announced since we podcasted last week.
I assume this game is on Saturday. I think it's at 3:00. The jersey reveal is on Thursday evening at the Marriott downtown.
Oh yeah.
So if you're available, RSVP and go to that.
Definitely. Are you back for that, or are you out of town?
No, I'm done. Let me know how they are.
I will. Listeners, viewers, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We love you. We can't wait to see some of you on Saturday. And dude, we're like 4 weeks away from the regular season.
Yeah, it's Knoxville, it's UNC, it's Tennessee Tempo, and then we're away to Miami to start the regular season.
Absolutely insane. It's coming. Get your season tickets, and we will see you guys soon. Peace.